What's up, everybody? Good people. How y'all doing today? James Joffrey on here. Welcome to the VIP room. Don't worry about ain't no decorations around here again, so don't worry about that. We on the budget. We ball on the budget, but we're still gonna talk about these movie reviews that I watch to talk about the Seven Nights of Fright films, scary movies that you can watch leading up to Halloween, if that's your sort of thing. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're still on part two of the movies that I saw as a kid that freaked me out, and that's what it did. Plain and simple. Let's get it. Okay, so first movie we're gonna talk about today is Pet Cemetery. This movie came out in 1989. Wow, man, Greatness was born in 1988. If y'all want to know about that little tip for life right there for you, don't mind me. So let's check it out. So IMDb rated this movie 6.6 out of 10, 51% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 38% on Metacritic. 87% Google users like this movie. So let's give you a little rundown synopsis for those who do not know about this film or not too familiar with it. Yes, there was a remake, but we're talking about the one in 1989, as I mentioned earlier. So, Dr. Lewis Creed Dale Midkiff moves his family to Maine, where he meets a friendly local named Judd Crandall, Fred Gwynn, who I believe was the Frankenstein in the Monsters television. Go figure. Okay, so after the Creed's cat is accidentally killed, Crandall advises Lewis to bury it in the ground near the old pet cemetery. The cat returns to life. His personality changed for the worse when Lewis' son, Gage Michael Hughes, who was in what he was in. Let me see. There we go. Full House. I believe, he was also in Little Rascals. I should put up a picture to show y'all exactly who he is, but we'll keep on moving forward. Lewis' son, Gage, Michael Hughes, dies tragically. Lewis decides to bury the boy's body in the same ground, despite the warnings of Crandall and Lewis' visions of a deceased patient, which made no sense whatsoever to me. That's how all these scary movies are, and I'm sorry. It's 1989. What are you going to do? So the release date for this movie was April 21st, 1989. Director was Mary Lampert. Initial what is that? Oh, DVD release was September 19th, 2000. Oh, that's when they actually came out on DVD. We all had VHS. For us older folk. Film series Pet Cemetery's box office a whopping 57.5 million. Man, they made pretty nice on this. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about it real quick. So going back and watching this film, when I was a kid, it did freak me out. Of course, I was a kid seeing like all the dead people and the cat and everything. My older sister was afraid of cats because of this film. If you watch this film, you'll see why the cat had little creepy glowy eyes like this and everything, and it make a little hissing noise. It'll freak you the hell out even to this day. It was very tragic as well too with the story with how the little boy get killed. I don't want to spoil it for you. It's shocking and horrible. Just thinking about that threw me off again watching this film. But overall, the story was good. Stephen King wrote this. I know it was a book that he actually wrote, and I heard that the book was also better than the film, like it always is with all the films that's out there. But watching the film again, does it still hold up story wise and how cheese factor. But as far as the story wise goes, still good. Still some questionable things that people do in these scary movies, like all scary movies, where I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? I mean, unless you want to get killed. But hey, do what you want to do, man. The graphics, as far as like the blood scenes and the gore and all that, it looks very, very realistic. And still to this day, it still kind of does hold up, which is crazy. And the people who are behind it, which is a little known history fact, the main uh, girl that was in what was that Nightmare on Elm Street, the main heroine of that film, she's married to the guy that does the special effects. So it's like they kind of mixed in. It's a pretty cool backstory. So do some research on that. You'll see what I'm talking about. How they kept it all in the family, and pretty cool how they also still to this day still do special effects for these scary films. So I recommended Pet Cemetery. Pet Cemetery 2, it started getting kind of crazy, but still a very good film to watch for the scary movie franchise for Seven Nights of Fright. Let's move on. Let's go to the next film that freaked me out when I was a kid, which I had no business watching, but we watched it anyways. Was, if I can get to it, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. When did this film come out? They had so many. So let's see. The one I believe that I watched, I want to say it was the, I think it was the 1986 version that I watched. So let's go ahead and read the synopsis for that real quick for all you do not know what the synopsis is all about. You got a 5.6 out of 10 on IMDb, 47% on Rotten Tomatoes, 42% Metacritic, Google users 82%. A chainsaw wielding maniac Leatherface Bill Johnson, played by Bill Johnson, is up to his cannibalistic ways, once again along with the rest of his twisted clan, including the equally disturbed Chop Top, played by Bill Mosley. This time, the masked killer has set his sights on pretty disc jockey Vanita Stretch, played Brock, played by Caroline Williams, who teams up with Texas lawman Lefty Enright Dennis Hopper, played by Dennis Hopper, to battle the psychopath and his family deep within their lair, a macabre, butchering that word, macabre abandoned amusement park. Abandoned amusement park. No, I don't think this is the wrong one I actually watched. But if you go back and watch, you'll see there's like multiple Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. The one I watched, don't know why I cannot find it, but I will let you know that one actually, it was really grotesque. Like I couldn't even much finish eating without eating because some of the things on there, like it just looked so realistic with how the set was set up. There was a real scare. Uh, it freaked me out when I was a kid too. Like just seeing somebody run around with a chainsaw, face all disfigured and everything, that was freaking anybody out. Plus, dude big, and then he don't talk, so that freaked me out too. So there were some really good scares, really good things on there that looked like it was just like brutal. Like I don't know how they played it off, but they were able to play it off. But it just looked brutal, just seeing these actors go through it. But it was actually looking back at it now. Well, as I rewatched it, not as scared, but still just disgusted with what just took place and what happened, how they got killed off and what they did. You see how they said they're cannibalistic. That's a little spoiler for people that have not seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but still good solid watch. I recommend it for this Seven Nights of Fright as well. If you're trying to get to a Halloween mood, I actually got chased by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, man. Some Halloweens when I was a teenager trying to get some candy. I had no business trying to get some candy, but I'll let y'all have fun with that. Go ahead, don't judge me. Don't judge. So moving on, let's go back to looking at my notes right here. This movie has been remade, and they're also doing another remake for it, which is crazy. John Carpenter's The Thing. This movie came out in 1982. I didn't really. I saw bits of when I was a kid. I saw a little bit of pieces of it, and it freaked me out, like like everything else. Uh, let's see. Let's go ahead and go to it. And on IMDb, 8.1 out of 10, 85% Rotten Tomatoes, 57 Metacritic, 92% Google users love this movie. In remote Antarctica, a group of American research scientists are disturbed at their base camp by a helicopter shooting at a sled dog. When they take in the dog, it brutally attacks both human beings and canines in the camp, and they discover that the beast can assume the shape of its victims. A resourceful helicopter pilot, played by Kurt Russell, OG, and the camp doctor, Richard Dysart, OG, led the camp crew in a desperate, gory battle against a vicious creature before it picks them all off one by one. Release date was June 25th, 1982. And of course, John Carpenter, director, story by John W. Campbell. Um, the Thing, wow, what can I say about this? So, it's disgusting as well. Remember, I said yesterday, be ready to be afraid, terrified, and disgusted with some of these films that I reach out, that I talk about, because that's just a scary movie franchise. Either they're going to freak you and gross you out, or you're going to be terrified, petrified, and keep all lights on before it's time for you to go to sleep, or watch some cartoons to keep your mind from thinking about that. Turn lights off. So, anyways. So, watching The Thing again, for me, I didn't know they had another one that was created not too long ago, like some odd years ago. I think it was 2009, 10. I don't want to get. I'll look into that sooner or later. See, but watching this film, it's pretty scary. You sitting up there trying to help out a stray dog, which I don't know why this type of dog would be out in Antarctica, but it is what it is. And you take him in, he start eating everything, and then like I said, it takes on the shape of different people, different victims. That's scary enough. And then when you finally see that monster, you're like, this is disgusting. It freaks you out. Still a good throw out even to this day. Does it hold up to right now? I say yeah, it still holds up. You can still watch it. Of course, you all got the cheesy dialogue with all these scary films, but still will enjoy it. Still good, um, scary movie. Nice little scare tactic for you in this film. So I say the thing, give it a watch if you're up for it. Let's go on to the next one. Look at my notes. Let's see. Talk about that. Talk about that. About that. Okay. So also, let's get into this one. This one, there was a remake not too long ago. Let me see if I can get to it. So, the year of 1990, this was actually released on television. 1990 film, Stephen King's It, Pennywise. We all float down here. So, not the remake. We'll get to that later on this week. But the original Pennywise, It, Chapter 1 and 2, 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb, 67% Rotten Tomatoes, 2 out of 5 on Common Sense Meter. Wow, okay. 84% like this movie. Okay, in 1960, well, smoothie time. So, in 1960, seven preteen outcasts fight an evil demon that poses as a child-killing clown. 30 years later, they reunite to stop the demon once and for all when it returns to their hometown. Release date November 18th, 1990. November 18th. That's somebody's birthday, I don't know. Director Timothy Lee Wallace. First episode was on November 18th, 1990. And final episode dated was November 20th, 1990. Let's see. So a lot of it was played by the phenomenal Tim Curry. Uh, Seth Green was also in this film. Emily Perkins. I'm going through this cast because people might be more familiar with this cast. Some other films that I mentioned earlier, there are some other characters I want to mention, but I'm trying to speed through it real quick. So, Richard Thomas was in there. John Ritter, R.I.P. Annette O'Toole. Tim Reed was in this as well. Man, this is crazy. This cast right here. Um, Brandon Crane, Harry Anderson. Yeah, man, this was a cast right here, man. So it. The only experience I have from this film is when I got a little older. I saw bits and pieces of it when I was a kid, but I also freaked out by clowns and what he could do, and people told me about it. And then when I tried to watch it, I was like, yeah, I'm not watching this anymore. So when I finally got older and watched it, I was like, this stuff look corny. So it does not hold up at all. I mean, it's still some good, way how they use everything to scare and freak out the kids in this film and the adults. Which the first part, from what I told, which I also agreed was great. The second part, mm, even with the remake, I said that it was. Let me see. Hold on. Don't mind me. So even with the part two of the remake, I was saying that it was good. It was great, funnier, but I didn't feel afraid for the characters like I did in the first go around with, because the first part of the movie, they're kids. As they become adults, you're like, I'm not really feeling that tension of being horrified and scared for them because they can protect themselves. But still, Pennywise is Pennywise. He's another being from another universe. I did a little research on it too, about the deadlights and where he comes from and what he wants to do. Of course, he wants to eat people, but it was pretty cool. Well, not pretty cool that he killed people, but the backstory and everything behind him and what he does and where he's from, and like one big crazy universe that Stephen King created. He gave a lot of thought to his work, which I appreciate too. So, of course, this being a horror film from the 1990s, everything don't hold up. Like I said, it's gonna be some cheesy lines, cheesy dialogue. Yeah, nacho cheese, man. But it still is a good, solid watch. The remake, we'll get to that later on down the line, but we're not going to talk about that. So, it Chapter One and Chapter Two for the 1990 version, mm, you probably still a good watch, still solid. If you just want to watch it just to watch it, I say go ahead. So, the last film we're going to talk about today for part two of Seven Nights of Fright is a movie that my dad actually wanted me to review, but I mean, hey, let me see if I can get to this. So this movie, it didn't really, it didn't really scare me as a kid. Probably a little bit. Only the last part probably scared me. So let's see. Let's get to it. If I can pull it up from my notes. Hold on. Let me see. So we can get this going. Okay, there we go. So first and foremost, well, let me go ahead and say it. Tales from the Hood. This movie, this movie here, kind of makes me laugh. And going back watching it, it still made me laugh. Makes me laugh. Even when I was a kid, it kind of made me laugh. Like I said, it made me laugh all the way up until the last final part, where I don't want to spoil it for you. Something was revealed, and that kind of did freak me out because I was like, "Ooh, if that would have happened for real, I'm like, man, I mean, this already a I don't want to spoil it for you. So I just want to talk about this cast real quick. So I'm about to butcher this last name. Cundy plays Richard Reporter. Clarence Williams III, very good actor. David Allen Greer was in this. He made me laugh, and I'm sorry, just a lot of people made me laugh. Corbin Benson, Joe Torre was in this. DeAndre Bonds, Samuel Monroe Jr., Brandon Hammond. I wonder where he's at. He was a very good kid actor. Wings Hauser, Michael Massey, Paula J. Parker was in this. Tom Wright was in this. Let's keep going through the cast. Keith David. No, he was in the second one, I believe. That was in there. So I'm gonna have to look into that. Dwayne Whitaker and Anthony Griffith. Roger, I don't want to butcher his last name. Guinevere. He's pretty much the guy that if you've seen All About the Benjamins, and when they were saying you want to have dreams, you have movies because of how where his hairline was at. That's the guy I'm talking about. R.I.P. to Lamont Bentley. I wish he was still alive. He was a great actor, a really great actor. I would love to see him. I wish he would have still been allowed to see more of his work as well. This lady, she was a part of my childhood. Rosalind Cash, very good actress, phenomenal actress. Miss her work. And now we're starting to get into the other. Okay, we're gonna stop right there at the other actors at this right there because it's starting to get into the other Tales from the Hood 2 that I have not watched because I think it might. I don't know. I don't. People said it was horrible, corny. I don't know. Looking at this this first movie, Tales from the Hood, it is what it is. So Tales from the Hood, of course, like I said, it is Tales, so it's small multiple small stories that they are putting together. These three gangsters are at this funeral home, and this guy played by Clarence Williams are telling them about these stories and pretty much drawing them in and talking to them, and then they're just listening to them and giving their little 2 cents, but he's still telling stories. Then at the end, you'll see, I don't want to, put, spoil it for you guys. So I want you to actually watch the film if you have not watched the film. Does it hold up? Like I said earlier, not really, but it still does have some intense storylines. A couple, one or I'll say one of the storylines will really hit home for some people about the killing and that's one of my favorite parts of the film right there. The most powerful scene, most powerful part of the film right there, where one of the actors was telling the guy who was doing a lot of killing, being a gangster, and she was saying, "You always talk about being for the brothers, but how many brothers have you slayed?" And that still sticks to me to this day, and it's something that's still true and dear that goes on in this world today. But I don't want to spoil it all for you. Seeing the multiple mini stories, they will make you laugh because I laugh from a healthy place. But with all that being said, those are the films. Tales from the Hood. Watch it. I think you will enjoy it. Even if you don't get scared or terrified from it, it's still a great laugh. You'll enjoy it, trust me. So that is going to wrap up our second day for Seven Nights of Fright. Hope you guys enjoy this movie. Tomorrow we will be tackling films that kind of scary movies that give you that are about teenagers. You know, it was a certain phase and point in time in the late '90s, going through to the early 2000s, where teenage teenagers and scary films just mixed, and it was a box office draw. They made a lot of money off of it. It's corny today. Some of it still does hold up, but we're going to go over that tomorrow. So, with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. Continue to be safe out there with this whole pandemic. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you do like what you see, make sure you hit that bell button to get notifications when I do uploads. Until then, like I said, be safe again. Have a good one.